is Jessica, and today I'm going to do a quick review of two different BB creams and kind of comparing them side by side to see which one is better. They're both really inexpensive, which is why I paired them together, because I figured that makes more sense to pair products that are closer in price together and see which one's better than, you know, comparing a really expensive one to a cheaper one. So I am comparing today the NYC Smooth Skin BB Cream 5-in-1 Instant Matte BB Cream with the e.l.f. BB Cream from their Studio line with an SPF of 20. The NYC BB Cream retails for around $3 or $4 at Walmart. I find mine at a store called Meijer. So you can also order it online, but it's really, really inexpensive, but they only have a couple color options. The e.l.f. BB Cream has a few more color options, but it retails for $6 on e.l.f.'s website. I don't know that I've seen this particular product in stores, but I know Target sells e.l.f. Some Walmarts now carry e.l.f., so you could look for it, but online you almost get better deals because you can get a bunch of things, and they sell a lot more online. And you can always get free shipping. They have 20% off sales all the time, things like that. So you can certainly find this for a lot cheaper. Sometimes they'll have their Studio 50% off, in which case these would both be around $3. So before I show you my first impressions of me applying it, I applied the NYC BB Cream to this side of my face today, and that's what I'm wearing, and I applied the e.l.f. to this side of my face. They do perform differently than each other, so let's go ahead and get into my application of it and kind of my first impressions. Okay, so I'm going to apply the NYC one to this side of my face, and I'm going to apply the e.l.f. one to this side of my face, and we're just going to see kind of the differences in coverage and the way that it feels and all that good stuff, and the way that it looks, of course, because that's the other part of it. So let's go ahead and start. I'm going to apply both of them with my hands because a BB cream, to me, since it's not a foundation, it's not meant to be really thick, it, in my opinion, is best applied with your hands, and I think that's the idea behind it, because it's just something that, it's like a tinted moisturizer, but it's got added skin benefits. So that is why I'm applying them with my hands. So in the NYC one, I'm using the color 01 Light. I don't know yet if these match my skin. I've kind of swatched them and they seem to, so we're just going to see how it looks. All right. It looks really light, but kind of in a good way because, well, look how fair I am, you know. It certainly is toning down my skin tone, like making it look a little more fair in a way. So it might be too light for me. It kind of looks gray. Do you guys see that? Doesn't it make my skin look a little bit gray? And keeping in mind that I've got you know, a little bit of hyperpigmentation and also freckles there, that I would love to cover some of the hyperpigmentation. It's very easy to blend in, so that is nice. It does feel thin in a nice way. It feels like I'm just putting on a moisturizer. It feels exactly like my moisturizer does, but a little thinner. So just to kind of put on the rest of it there. So this is essentially one layer of it blended with my hands and blended back into my hairline. And I think the main thing I'm noticing is just that it does look a little bit gray on my skin. It didn't really cover a ton, but my skin, in my opinion, my skin does look better than it did without it. It did have a little bit of coverage, but not a ton. So let's go ahead and try. Sorry, and I know there's stuff on my hand. I wrote myself a note to remind myself at school because I'm a teacher, and that's why I tried to get it off, and I can't get it off. I should not have used that marker. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the e.l.f. BB Cream, I will say, packaging-wise, I love that this has a pump, so that's really, really nice. This one I have in the shade, oh no, it does not say, are you kidding? Oh, there it is, in Fair. It's probably the lightest shade they have, but you just pump it, ooh. Went a shot across the room. This one looks a little bit darker than the other one did, I think. Yeah, it is a little bit darker. This one has that SPF smell as well. Whew. Big time. This one is a little bit thicker. So if you like a thicker consistency, then you might like this, but it certainly is thicker and a little darker than my skin, but not necessarily in a bad way yet. It kind of is blending in to it in a nice way. Okay, so I'm thinking as I'm looking at myself, and it's hard to see because for me, I'm used to seeing myself with a full face of makeup, but just looking at my skin, I feel that the e.l.f. had just a little bit higher coverage. So I think that if you do want a little more coverage, it's not super high coverage because it's not a foundation, you know, and that's the thing to keep in mind. I think a lot of people, and it's for me too, I've struggled to find a BB cream I love because I always want everything to be covered, but that's not quite the idea. And there are BB creams out there that have a lot higher coverage, but usually they're a lot more expensive. But for this, for a BB cream, I think that the NYC one is not as greasy. So if you tend to get really greasy and oily throughout the day, I would say the NYC one is just a little bit less oily, whereas the BB cream from e.l.f., you can see there's a little more oil deposits on my skin here, versus here I feel like it still lets your skin breathe, but it's more of a matte finish really. So if you struggled with BB creams because they make you look oily, I would go with the NYC in that case. But the e.l.f., I still kind of like the way it makes my skin look, and I think in the summertime this is going to be a great one just because it's got that SPF, and it's only SPF 20. I'm going to put the rest of this on because it was on the cap. But I like it. And this, I should have pointed out, the NYC does say instant matte, so it is more mattifying, but it's not as high coverage. So obviously going through kind of the pros and cons of each, the NYC, the packaging, I think the packaging itself is cute. And I like that it's not like in a jar or like a glass jar or anything. I like that you can squeeze it out. However, comparing this packaging to the e.l.f. one, I love that the e.l.f. has a pump. I mean, anything with a pump just makes it easier. You can really control how much comes out of the pump too, which I think is important because most pumps you can't. So packaging wise, I think e.l.f. would win. Of course, price wise, on a regular basis, the NYC is a little bit cheaper. However, color range wise, e.l.f. has a few more colors. They both blend into the skin really well. A lot of the drugstore BB creams I've tried, even the lightest shade either oxidizes on my face weird and looks orange, or it's just instantly too dark for me. So I was pleasantly surprised to find 2 different companies that sell a shade that for someone that's fair actually works. So I was very excited about that. The NYC one is a little bit thinner. The BB cream from e.l.f. is a little bit thicker, and their finish, I feel that the NYC one, it says that it's instant matte. It really does mattify. Whereas the e.l.f. one, you can see, is a little bit, shows a little bit more of my oil. I don't want to say either one of these are oily because honestly, I've been pleasantly surprised, you know, going throughout my day. I've just been doing things around the house. Clearly, I'm just kind of comfortable today. That it's held up. It still looks the same way that I applied it, which I am thoroughly surprised. Now, it is kind of bothering me looking in the mirror here. I know I keep looking at it. It does bother me seeing this much oil come through. You could throw the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder, which is my favorite. Just throw that just in your T-zone and be good to go. And I feel that I'm just impressed with both of these. So I think really, the fact of the matter is, if you're trying to decide which one of these, they're both really good drugstore options. Neither one of them are crazy high coverage, but if you want a more matte option, I would go with NYC. If you're not concerned about that, go with the e.l.f. This is something amazing that if you just want a little bit on your face, just, you know, you're going up to the store and you don't want to do a full face of makeup, but you do want to look a little more put together, it's perfect. Or if you're in a rush and you don't want to get a beauty blender wet and do all that, or you don't want to use a brush, it's just a quick go-to, and I'm so excited because I feel like I've been searching for drugstore BB creams that are good, and I think both of these are. I think if I had to pick one, I would go with the e.l.f. BB cream, just because I like the packaging more. I feel like it's a little higher coverage. The only con is just that I probably would set it with a powder. I mean, that's one extra step that takes 10 seconds, so it's not like it's that big of a deal, but I would recommend this, I think, the most, and especially since I think color-wise you have more options. Other than that, they're both really good. So if you do want the matte, I know I've said this 10 times, but if you want the matte, I would not go for this. I would go for the NYC, but they're both really good products. So I hope that review was helpful for you guys. I feel like I repeated a lot of the same things, but I want to get across to you exactly how I feel about these. I think they're both great, and if you're interested in more drugstore reviews, I have a ton. I can link my playlist below of a lot of the new lines that are out there. I've been reviewing some lip products and some other foundations that are out there right now. So if you're interested, definitely check them out and subscribe to catch more of them, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. I'm like nervous to do it in front of you. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, do you even watch my videos?
Like a what?
Like, what was the last video you watched of mine?
I don't know, an eyes, lips, face one.
That is old!
First of all, that was adorable that you knew that it's Eyes Lips Face, not just Elf. So that is cute.
It's an acronym. Like Ohio.
What's that an acronym for?
Akron, Ohio.
Get out of here, you nerd! Alright.